Hi everyone, I'm Karina Anaya, and today I'm going to be talking about work task stressors, specifically work overload and underutilization. So, what are they? Like I mentioned, one of them is work overload. Work overload is the stress that accompanies a job position where everything is fast paced, challenging, and requires a great deal of effort and concentration. While underutilization is the stress that results from not having enough work. When employees feel underutilized, they feel that their skills, experience, and knowledge do not match the kind of tasks that are assigned to them. So, why do they matter? Although work overload and underutilization are considered to be opposites, they are similar because they both result in negative outcomes. Both of them have an impact on stress and behavior in the workplace. According to our textbook, these work task stressors can increase absenteeism, turnover, negative physical and psychological reactions, while decreasing job satisfaction and work performance. These negative outcomes lead to negative results for the company overall, such as having a bad reputation and suffering financially. I'm going to talk about two examples where I experienced work overload and underutilization. I experienced work overload when I was first hired as a behavioral therapist. I received extensive training in the office, but not really in the field. Because of this, I felt unprepared once I was actually assigned to my first child. The first child I was assigned to had a series of challenging behaviors such as aggression to himself and to me, as well as elopement. So if I didn't have my eyes on him every second, he would bolt out the door the first chance he got. He also suffered from epilepsy, so at any moment he could have a seizure. All of this was very overwhelming for me because I felt like I had a lot of responsibility, not only for my safety, but for his as well. And because of all of these behaviors, the supervisors had made a very intense program and regimen that I had to implement for the child to improve. Not only did I have to provide therapy, I also had to, like I said, watch out for all of his behaviors, which put his safety and my safety in harm's way. But I also had to take data. So I was constantly on the lookout, and my all of my concentration and effort was put into every minute of the session. I definitely felt overwhelmed and stressed, which took a toll on me eventually. I've also experienced underutilization at an internship for physical therapy where I went into the internship thinking that it would be a great experience to learn about a different type of field such as physical therapy, but instead I was just an unpaid janitor where I didn't use any of my skills or any knowledge. The only thing I did was clean and observe occasionally, which was also stressful, but definitely work overload took a more taxing toll than underutilization. Next, I'd like to talk about Duxbury's meta-analysis study. So Duxbury sought to explore the extent to which work overload and family overload contributed to total role overload. Through the administration of surveys, he measured three variables: work overload, family overload, and total role overload. One of his findings indicated that work overload accounted for 68% of total role overload. I found this result to be important because if work overload is responsible for 68% of our total role overload, then it's important that we find ways to reduce the stress that comes with work overload. Let's talk about some ways that we can reduce work task stressors. We as individuals can reduce our work task stressors by developing healthy habits such as having good nutrition and exercising to make our bodies more resilient to stress. We can also practice cognitive restructuring. That way we view stressors as a challenge rather than a threat. Or we could practice meditation, which will also reduce our stress. However, it's important that management also step in and do their part for reducing work task stressors, and they can do so by improving person-job fit. This way, employees will not feel overwhelmed or underwhelmed since their skills will most likely match the task. Management can also improve upward and downward communication. This will make sure that the management understands how employees feel, which will help them take the appropriate actions. Lastly, management can incorporate better job orientation and training. This will provide clear expectations for everyone.